Welcome to the Tuesday, June 24th, 2025 meeting of the Ayer Planning Board. This hearing of the Ayer Planning Board will be held in person at the location provided on this notice. Members of the public are welcome to attend this in-person meeting. Please note that while an option for remote attendance and/or participation via Zoom is being provided as a courtesy to the public, the hearing will not be suspended or terminated if technological problems interrupt the virtual broadcast unless otherwise required by law. Members of the public with a particular interest in a specific item on this agenda should make plans for in-person versus virtual attendance accordingly. This meeting will be live on Zoom. The public may access the proceedings by joining Zoom meeting ID 978-772-8220 or by calling 929-205-6099. For additional information about remote participation, please contact Danny Ruiz, Town Planner, at druiz@ayer.ma.us or 978-772-8220, extension 144 prior to the meeting. Do we have amendments to the agenda? Okay, hearing none, I move to approve the agenda.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, how do you vote, Ken?
Yes.
Kathleen?
Yes.
Julie?
Yes.
Chair votes aye. It's approved. First,
Before we
but before we start, I forgot.
Yep. Also, I want to. So at the last select board meeting, actually at the June 17th select board meeting, Kathleen was appointed to be a full member of the planning board, and has taken Jeff's term and will finish that out. So congrats.
So I'd say welcome, but you've been with us for over a year. But congratulations and welcome
you.
to your new elevated status.
Thank you.
And then also, just so that everyone knows, at the first meeting in June of the select board ratified my position change of the land use director. So going forward, as of July 1st, I will be the land use director. So I will be overseeing the conservation, ZBA, and planning board, and assisting the Board of Health, the building department, and economic development or community development.
Congratulations.
Yes, congratulations.
Well deserved.
Thank you. Excellent. Thank you, David. All right.
And you'll
Lucky.
sit on all those boards too?
So when necessary for me to go to those meetings, I'll be at those meetings.
Okay, but we will expect to see you here.
Oh yes, yep. That
not
doesn't
leaving
change.
it.
I will still be town planner as well.
Okay.
All right. So that brings us to 0 Bly Street, and the hearing has been already open, correct?
Yeah, it's already open.
So I believe that what we want to do is hear from the engineer, and that we'll organize a site visit and then a continuance.
I believe Liz is on. Yeah. So for just so that everyone knows, the applicant is working on getting fully revised plans and comments over to us. They did want the board to set up a site visit because we have to do it during a public hearing. So we wanted to have that set up so that prior to the next meeting, we will have already had that site visit.
Okay. We've been doing these at Thursdays at 8 a.m. Does the next Thursday 8 a.m. work for everybody?
So let's see what the calendar
That would
shows.
be July 3rd.
July 3rd
Before the
is
holiday.
right before the holiday.
Oh, is that bad? People are taking off?
No, she wants that date. I think that's what you said.
No, I'm available. I might be able to get somebody in my office to cover it, but we are running a skeleton crew, I think, on Thursday through Monday.
Not July 3rd, she'd prefer.
Yeah, is it possible to do July 10th?
Yeah.
Will that were you going to come back on the 8th?
Yes, I am back on the 8th.
Does it matter that?
Oh, no, I'm sorry. To the planning board. Oh, I see the problem.
Yeah.
Can I interject?
Yeah.
I think, Kathleen, I think the question would be to you. The Thursdays we isolated because that was best for Jeff's schedule. I was the one to ask for weekday mornings, but we can flex. But Kathleen, you have a tough schedule at times. Are there certain days of the week that are better?
Yeah.
Is that okay
Yeah.
that I open that up?
Yeah. No. Yeah.
Yeah, so generally it would have to be a Tuesday or a Thursday
Okay.
in the morning.
Tuesday mornings work for me.
Work for me.
Ken?
So,
Yeah,
The first?
typically my meeting's on Tuesday, or the work group for the senior, and they're in the afternoon.
Yeah.
so would July 2nd? Oh, I'm sorry. No, that puts it at July 1st.
July 1st. Would that
Would-
work?
Yeah,
So that's
8 a.m.?
so there's Tuesday, July 1st,
Yep.
Or, yeah, Tuesday, July 1st?
Or on the 8th.
Or on the 8th.
Either one works
I like
for
the
us.
first better.
Let's do the first.
Okay, Tuesday,
Yeah.
That works for you, Liz?
Yes, thank you.
Tuesday, 7/8 at
8 a.m.
Next Tuesday.
8 a.m.
Does that work for you, Kathleen? Okay.
And that's July 1st, right?
Yep, July 1st. So I'll have an agenda posted for that site visit.
Okay, great, thank you. All right, we need a continuance?
Yes. So the applicant's looking for a continuance to the July 8th planning board meeting.
So moved.
Does that work?
Works
no,
for every other board besides this one.
I can't.
Then
I'll make it,
someone-
okay. Motion to continue the, is it site plan review?
Yep.
Site plan review for 0 Bly Street, map 33, parcel 25, and to the July 8th planning board meeting.
Seconded.
Any discussion? Hearing none. Ken?
Yes.
Kathleen? Julie?
Yes.
Chair votes aye. Great, so that's continued. Thank you,
We'll
Liz.
see you on the 1st, Liz.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Next item, I believe that 15 3rd Street, Pine Street has been opened already?
Yes.
Okay, and would the applicant care to come on up, please?
So after the last meeting and our site walk, the applicant revised the site plans. I'll let them go through it, but they've also responded to the comments that we had. There were no additional comments that came out of it other than the DPW's letter of the conditions that they would like in the decision for them to accept the roadway and the infrastructure. That was sent out to the board along with decisions, 2 different decisions, a site plan approval and a stormwater management permit decision.
Is there anything meaningfully different on the site plan?
Yeah, I will let
You're
them.
gonna take us through the difference
I'll
of
let
the
them
changes?
kind of go through that, and then there also was some minor revisions that occurred today as well. Brandon and I spoke. I can go through them as well later
Okay.
when we get to that.
I mean, beyond the new one?
Yeah, beyond they're
Okay.
very minor.
Okay, great.
But I'll let Brandon take over.
Brandon Ducharme with David E. Ross. A bulk of the changes were in regards to the DPW comments. We added an additional sheet that had a lot of the details that they wanted to see on the utility. One of them had to do with the connection where we're tying in the sewer lines from each of the proposed buildings. It's a doghouse style manhole that they wanted to put at the location of that connection. We segregated the 2-family duplex to 2 sewer connections, so we added a connection to the rear side of the building that heads up the page to a manhole. It brings that together and then ties into the existing sewer line in the back. We modified the water line location slightly, just bringing it closer to the edge of pavement. And then we moved drain manhole 6, which is collects drainage from both of the catch basins, which goes to a stormwater treatment unit and then ultimately to the basin. And we just changed that location to alleviate, the water was crossing the sewer line. So essentially by moving that around, we were able to separate those. One of the concerns was in regards to land clearing and trying to save as much trees as we could. Our survey crew went out and we located a number of trees between the upper side of the page and the abutters there along Shelley Lane. And then what we did is we actually reduced the site grading to bring the limited disturbance further from the lot line in that area as well. One of the changes was where Pine Street comes off of 3rd Street. There is an existing utility pole right within the right-of-way. So what we've done is we've proposed to relocate that utility pole, and we just kind of added kind of a vegetated island around that to tie that in, which also reduces the curb cut for lots 1 and 2. Those are essentially the main changes. There was maybe a couple of minor things that were done, but that pretty much covers what was revised.
Question? So remember, we saw a couple of some impressive trees over here, but I'm assuming there's no way to save this. Of course, it's right dab in the middle of the street.
Yeah.
What about this guy here?
This is the one that we talked about on site that I said
Could we?
we would be okay with the limbing that
Oh,
side
okay.
that's facing towards the garage.
Yeah,
I would be fine with limbing that side,
yeah.
but not fully removing it. This one down here, which was one of the bigger ones
Yeah.
too, that one I understood. If you can't save it, then I get it because
Yeah.
it's right on the edge of that
On the
pavement.
edge, yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's line of sight, other things come into that play at that point. So at that point, if they can't save it, they can't save it. I get it.
Understood.
But this was the main one that I wanted to make sure it was saved.
Okay. But it looks like real effort and thought went into saving what could be, and the ones that you can't are because you just can't.
Yep. Any other question?
I got a couple of questions. Can you go back to the, right, isn't there a pipe missing between here and here?
Oh, yes, yep. Obviously, yeah, there's a drain pipe that connects that flared end section to the stormwater treatment unit.
Is that a sidewalk that's being proposed on the side, towards those homes? No sidewalk?
No sidewalk, just given the near, I think it's a 30-foot right of way, and we got a 20-foot pavement, so there wasn't room to accommodate a sidewalk.
Okay. Can you go back to the lot 1 and 2 for a minute?
Yes.
So, there's a table down below, this is kind of technical now. So in the table, it says, proposed minimum frontage, lot width, so forth and so on. And you see that in proposed lot 2, it says the lot width minimum is 142 feet. Yet the frontage on that lot, since there is no road, the frontage is on the 3rd Street.
It's off of Pine Street.
Well,
It's going to be.
so you're saying that's the frontage?
Yeah.
The driveway comes in off the side street. That's how you guys figured it out? Or it just happened to be the way he showed it?
That's how it's. That's how the building department is
'Cause I
saying that this is
understood-
allowed.
This gets back to the division of the 2 lots. Division of an existing lot. Believe it has to have frontage on, the existing street. So you basically have changed the frontage to 140. Am I right in saying that? You guys thought about this and you wanted the frontage to be on the side street?
Correct.
That's not built.
No, the plan here is to reconstruct that paper street, which will provide access through that
It
frontage.
is an existing way. That's
I don't, because what we're saying is the width of the lot is going left to right on this plan instead of up and down on the plan, I guess is what I'm questioning, whether it makes any sense, maybe it doesn't matter. So anyway, it says minimum lot frontage. And then the next category says minimum lot width. So you can have one or the other is what I'm getting at. If you're gonna use the frontage this way, then the frontage and the width, I guess, can be the same way. Is that what you're saying?
In this case, yeah.
Okay. In that section, Danny, that, we refer to in our, so this, we know this complies with the definition of under, whatever it is,
Yeah.
4181L, whatever it is. But in ours, it's somewhat different, that division of developed lots is somewhat different. Can you take us through that piece at all?
So basically, lots 1 and 2 are subdivided through the 81L
Process.
process. So by that, legally, we can subdivide, because there are 2 pre-existing single-family residents. They've,
Two buildings on a lot,
Correct.
prior to zoning.
yeah, prior to the zoning coming into place.
So, you mentioned at the last meeting that this section in our zoning bylaw.
Yep.
Does that even apply here at all? Because
Based on how
there's some dimensional requirements here that,
yeah, based on what the previous building commissioner determined, yes. That was his determination.
so any lot of which one of my houses is talking about, for each foot that such lot is less than 75 feet wide, 1 foot, all this other deduction stuff. So what I'm getting at is, and then it says, provided no side yard shall be less than 6 feet. So, show me where the side yard is between those two houses.
So it depends, so because this is the frontage, the side yard is over here technically. Because they're using this as the frontage.
But the other house's side yard is gonna be
It's gonna be right
the
here.
other direction.
Yeah.
So isn't that less than 6 feet between the houses? Did you guys look at this at all, this section?
I know Kevin from our office,
Kevin
when we
and-
sat down with,
Kevin and Charlie were the
See,
ones.
I noticed that they didn't put a dimension in, you know. I can't see it anyway.
Yeah.
the dimensions should be in that that zoning table at the bottom. Yep.
2.3 feet. Lot 1 and 2 are divided by Chapter 81L, division of the tract of land, where subdivision control is in effect. Yeah, that's the the previous building commissioner's determination.
You see, I would have brought it up if someone hadn't talked about that paragraph. Then I took another look at it today. Anyway, I don't think this applies. I think just 81L is what applies, but in either case. So we have to accept the fact that, the question is whether we have to go back to this at all with the 6 foot and make a determination about that or not.
We don't have the authority to make that determination.
Okay.
It was a determination that the building commissioner made a while ago. We only have 30 days to appeal.
Do you guys, did
Only-
you look
only
at
the
this section at all in our bylaw, or just, did Kevin look at it, do you know?
I believe so. I know they went back. I think there was
Yeah,
a
the-
letter from the building
Yeah, there was
inspector.
back and forth. This, I mean, because they had been dealing, they came, originally met with us in like September of last year.
Okay. All right, so the frontage of Lot 2 is on Pine Street, that's what we're saying, basically. Lot 1 is on Third Street, obviously.
Yes.
That's frontage on Pine Street. The next one's frontage on, what are the other Shelley, what's the other street?
4th Street.
Fourth Street. What else do they have?
So you had to also, you brought up at the last meeting landscaping, and then we talked about it at the
Yeah.
site walk.
Right.
What was you?
Well, my concern for the landscaping was a butter. Then I think we pointed out at the sidewalk that the abutter had no issue. So we thought, I think Nathan also brought it up, that even without them having an issue, we thought it would be prudent to have some landscaping on the side, going between the house and the new street. So did you show any of that on?
Well, but we had talked about that, and then the question was the proximity to the house.
Yeah, right.
And because of snow clearing, when they're plowing, because remember, eventually the DPW, the town will eventually take this over. And the problem that we talked about on site was, if once the DPW is plowing, they're not going to want to maintain that landscaping as well. So if you plow, it's going to go off to that side, and what goes on that landscape, it would go along up on that landscaping. And I know right now the DPW is not in a would not prefer to have landscaping on that. I'm just from the experience, from what we've talked about, especially with Stratton Hill, that boulevard, they
We
don't.
resolved it over there, I think.
I know, but that's kind of what the position of the DPW has been.
Yeah, one of the discussion, it kind of ties back to whether it was going to be a private or public way. And as we looked at it, it's about 7 feet from the edge of the structure to the right of way.
Yeah.
So it's pretty narrow to plant, so we talked about doing some screening with a fence, and that's when it kind of came up at the end, where if the town's gonna take over, you know, if this becomes a public way, they would take over ownership and maintenance of that fence, and there was, you know, potentially an issue with being that close to the traveled way.
The only thing I would bring up is what's the possibility of discussing with the property owner about putting the fence
He's
on?
actually very fine with it. We had discussions on it.
Okay, so
So
putting the
he
fence
said,
on.
as long as you're gonna make it public, I'm okay.
But what about like if you were to put the fence on his property for him? Because then at that point, there is no maintenance requirement for the town. He gets a fence for screening for the people that are living there, as well as, you know, screening because when we were out there, we saw the stuff that was back here as well. You know, it does provide screening for them, for the eventual people who would be moving into especially this house. But it's just something that,
It could be discussed with him. I don't know whether he would want it or not.
I think you brought up a valid point. Wouldn't you want it, Dan? That the homeowner in lot 3 might not want to look over there.
What
Might be
was
an
that?
advantage for that buyer in lot 3, Danny's pointing out, that if it was fenced off, you wouldn't have to look into the other lot, which may be,
No, but you're talking about running a fence from where to where?
so
beginning.
here to like probably like right here, because past that point that's the other right of way, which I know he does want to try to use at some point. But if there's a fence that protects visually from this lot 3, it helps you from seeing what's in that yard. But it's, you know,
It's good.
Yeah, I mean, it probably can be done.
the problem is
I can't give you an answer what
Exactly.
his feeling is on it.
yeah,
Exactly.
exactly.
You know, it
Um,
kind of puts me in a spot where I
Mhm.
can't answer the question.
I think it's something that I think we could continue to work on as we progress through the project. You know, maybe we can set up a meeting with them and see how they would feel about that. Not, you know, there is, you know, a lot of trees in this area, so like the tree line does exist along that area. It's just not going to be as full as it is now. But it's also up to kind of you guys if you guys want that visual buffer or not.
I get just a couple more things. So on lot 2 again, see we have an arrow, it says proposed access and utility easement, and it's pointing right directly, basically at I think is the front of the house.
Yeah, it's this line.
That,
Yeah,
where's the
so we
other, where's
ran
the
that.
other
So
side?
it goes
Yeah.
like this.
So the whole thing is the utility, the whole thing?
Yeah.
Okay. I was looking for the other arrowhead on the other side. It's the whole deal. And lastly, I see you putting a new water line to that house. Is there an existing sewer line to the house now? Or does it need a new sewer line?
I can't tell what that is. Is that a water line to there?
That's a water line.
It needs
so-
a water line because it's fed from,
The other house?
But I think the sewer comes this way, right?
That's what I was checking, I guess. Maybe.
Oh yeah, it doesn't show on here.
There's no sewer. I mean, I couldn't see it, so.
Yeah, the records we have came from the DPW, and I'm not sure. My guess is a lot of it is the buildings are tied together, because I know they did leave a stub for the water off of Third Street when they resurfaced that. But when we talked to Matt,
Yeah,
it
you
was
can see it
preferable.
shown right here.
We figured we may as well just tie into the new water line that's gonna be
Yeah.
done through the
Mhm.
right of way.
Yeah,
But
Pine
what
Street.
about sewer?
So, I mean, right now, there's no record of a connection, so I have to assume that they're tied together.
but you said they stubbed it off
The water.
The water,
Oh,
yeah.
the water,
There's a stub right here for the water. But for the sewer,
Mhm.
are the houses connected?
I believe so.
So I mean, that's a DPW call, but my
That's
guess is that you don't have a sewer line from one house going to another guy's lot,
Yeah, we would have to, I mean, it's
another
back,
person's lot, could be a
who
woman.
knows when that was built?
Well done.
I don't know when that was built, so it could have been a long time ago, well before zoning and, you know, it's definitely well before zoning and all that stuff, but I can talk to the DPW and see where they, you know, what they have for records on that. I mean, in the end, they're gonna have to
Yeah,
go through
yeah.
the DPW anyways for it, because they're gonna have to figure out ties
Yeah,
anyways, so they'll have to pull permits for that anyways.
Yep.
Okay, so that was what I had for questions, thank you.
What should we tackle first?
Yeah, questions, yeah.
Yeah, so, I just wanted a little help reading the map. So lot 4, does the property line directly abut Grove Pond, or is there a
Yes.
wetland?
No, so the way it works is it goes right up to the line of where the water is. So that's where the edge of the property line is.
Okay, so
the edge
there's
of
no
water.
concern about posting signage or something for those folks?
So through conservation, there is going to be a condition that they have to set signage along the 50-foot no disturb.
Okay.
But that's going to be through conservation.
So, the folks that eventually, I think it's being sold, buy this property, it will be clear to them that this is not necessarily waterfront access.
Oh yeah.
Right, like it's not like you blaze a trail. Put a
Yeah.
kayak.
No. There's going to be signs that they're going to have to put up every. I forget what the condition is. I know you guys will be getting it on Thursday.
Yeah,
You guys are gonna be-
they closed the public hearing to draft the
Yes.
conditions. And one of the conditions that they voted on was to add signage, and my memory is, I think they said three signs, but they
Yeah.
discussed the number of signs that they want along the 50-foot.
Yeah.
Is what they're concerned with. So
Yeah.
Okay.
So along the.
we added a couple of plantings.
Yep. Right here.
And
along there
where
as
would
well.
the 50-foot be on this?
So the 50-foot is. So here's the 100. So.
It's basically along.
In the trees though, right? When we were down, it's fairly.
Yes, it's wooded now, and the 50 essentially.
Yeah, it's right here. So
right there,
it goes
kind of
along
skirt along
this.
it with the erosion control.
Yeah.
And the only portion where we go into it, which we had to get a waiver from conservation, was for the actual connection point to the existing sewer.
Okay.
We went in about 3 or 4 feet into the 50-foot.
Yep. Right here. So this is where they had to go like 3 feet into the.
Got it.
So that's the 50-foot right there. It follows along the limit of work and comes out to here. So.
Okay. Thank you. And then that two-family is being kind of split horizontally. When I'm looking at that, based on where the driveway is that correct?
Yep, so essentially where the driveway comes in, there's a garage bay on either side. Each unit has its own garage, so the partition wall is kind of
Right here.
horizontally through. Yep,
Yeah,
exactly.
It's right there.
Okay. And
That's why that sewer connection that comes out the back is just inside of where
I
that.
got this one and then you have this one.
do you typically, when you're doing these two families, do you ever put a fence down between, like from where you're saying the partition is down to
You mean
somewhere?
back here?
Yeah, there's no
In the back of the unit?
I'm not asking.
No.
I was just curious because I was wondering how far, if you were to put a fence, the fence would go. But okay.
What about decks? Is there a proposed deck on the back of those houses? Typically, you'd have a deck of some sort, right? Patio or a deck. That's not shown there.
Is that walkout, right?
It's a
So it'd
walkout.
be a patio for sure down below, yeah. So there may be a
Doesn't
fence in
affect
between,
it, really.
yes.
Sorry?
But there may be a fence in between the two separations.
Okay. And that would go.
They wouldn't be able
It
to
won't go down far, just
Right.
beyond.
Yeah. Just a little.
They would have to stay within
Yeah,
the.
you gotta stay within that,
Okay.
yeah.
That's all.
Yeah, so they would have to, I mean, the limit of work is right here, so the furthest they could go is like probably like right in there.
Great.
Any further questions from board members? Would anyone in the, excuse me, I'm sorry. Anyone in the public have any comments or questions? Yes, ma'am. Could you come up, please? Thank you. Hi, welcome.
Hi.
We just ask you to say your name and your street address.
Yep, I'm Dawn Ives. I live at 4 Shelley Lane, which is the one to the top
Yep.
of the page there.
Right up here.
So one question I have, and this may be more for the Conservation Commission, but can you help me understand the difference between the 100-foot buffer zone and the 50-foot no disturbance zone?
Yes.
Because my understanding was any work within the 100-foot buffer zone also required like special provisions and stuff like that. And I know the Conservation Commission approved the NOI, but just trying to understand, because now we're talking about a lot more work within the 100-foot buffer zone than is shown on these plans with the patio and fencing and things like that.
Yeah, so the way it works is, so the 50-foot no disturb means, so between the wetland and 50 feet, you can't touch anything, unless there's a specific waiver, which they did receive for the sewer line. But that's
Right.
for 3 feet within that. Within the 100 feet, it means that it's up to review under the WPA for the Conservation Commission. That was done, that was reviewed. An impact of a patio would not have any adverse impact, or a fence.
Okay, I'm not sure I agree with no adverse impact. I mean, the whole work within the 100-foot buffer zone is going to involve clearing and,
Yep.
and whatnot.
Which is allowed.
Right.
It doesn't
I get
involve
it.
clearing, the clearing is already done.
The clearing's already done, I understand, but a patio is going to change, like, provide more impervious surface instead of, you know, infiltration and things like that. And I realize in the grand scheme of things, it's a small footprint, but anyway.
But I believe that impervious would have been part of their calculations for the stormwater. permit.
No, for the patio.
Not for the patio.
Patio?
It's negligible.
No, it's negligible, just not important? Okay, sorry about that.
The amount, I mean, the way it would work is that's gonna just run off and go into it's gonna sheet flow right on the grass anyways.
Mhm.
The impacts of a patio is not gonna
Okay.
be enough to change anything. And they actually wouldn't even really have to address it.
Don't have it, okay, so.
Okay. And then my other question is, at one of the prior planning board hearings, there's a question raised by someone else who wasn't able to be here tonight about a peer review of the stormwater calculations. And has that been done? Is that typically done?
So we would not do a peer review on this type of project.
Okay.
This is much smaller of a project. The DPW does our reviews. Unless it's a project that, you know, is kind of taken to that next level, very, very complex, like other projects that we have before the board, those will get peer reviewed. Smaller projects like this do not. The DPW handles most of our reviews.
Okay. Okay, those are my questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything from Zoom?
Anyone on Zoom? Pauline? No.
Okay,
We can go through the decisions.
let's do that. Where do you want to start?
Yeah, so we
Site plan
can,
approval of the stormwater.
let's start with site plan approval. The board will have them, should have a copy of them. You know, first page obviously is pretty boilerplate. Conditions, we have 36 standard conditions. We have 6 special conditions, which we'll get to. You know, set forth, we have the materials section, the findings. This is one of the ones that I wanted to bring your attention to under findings. Number 4, under the findings, the applicant has proposed building Pine Street Extension as a public way to be accepted by the town of Ayer at a future town meeting, just so that that it's reflected in the decision. There was another minor change on number 3. It said, it originally said containing 3, and then in the parentheses it had 4. So it should have said 4.
Oh, it's a typo.
Yeah, just a typo. I added in the waiver request section, so we should
those
actually
first, right?
do those first. So the first waiver request right now is under section 4C14, which is the landscaping plan. A landscaping plan and description of an on-site open space that meets the requirements under sections 9.1.6 and 9.2 of the Air zoning bylaw. The project does not involve the construction of detached parking areas that would typically require landscape plantings to provide screening for abutting properties. Each single-family private driveway provides access to the garages attached to the residence. Homeowners will provide ornamental landscaping to enhance the over aesthetics as
Just take out the word over.
over. I'll just the overall aesthetics as needed. So that is the first waiver request.
I just want to, for the public, is that these waiver requests are from our site plan regulations.
Yes.
So they're not from our bylaws.
No.
That's what I'm just trying to,
Yep.
sometimes a misunderstanding.
So I waiver request from the town of Ayer site plan regulations. That's why I
Right.
specify.
I
as
says
to
that,
which-
but
Yeah.
I'm trying to double check
Yep.
that it's clear. That
Oh, yes.
the site plan has a separate set of regulations which normally apply to bigger commercial projects. This is a very small
Yeah.
application of that. So, thank you.
Just as a reminder to the public is that we consider waivers on two grounds. Either it's simply irrelevant to the project at hand and doesn't reasonably apply, or there's a material benefit for the town. So this is a case where, in my judgment, the waiver seems appropriate because it just doesn't apply meaningfully to this particular project. So I think a waiver is merited. Any discussion, or Kathleen?
This is just really minor, but technically there are both single family and two family. I don't know if we need to specify that in the language. My understanding is that
Oh,
the driveways,
yeah.
accesses to the garage applies in all cases. I don't
Yeah. So it's for each. It's the single family and the duplex. Yeah.
I don't think we intended to single out.
Yeah.
Should we amend that, Danny?
Mm-hmm. That's what I'm
Okay.
Okay, you need a motion, right? Okay. Yeah, I move that the board approve the waiver request for section 4C14 landscaping plan.
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none. Ken?
Yes.
Kathleen?
Yes.
Julie?
Yes.
Chair votes aye. Second waiver request regards vehicular traffic circulation and parking.
Given that the project scope consists of a construction of residential homes, each served by a single 2560.
Is that right? That's supposed to be
25-foot long private driveways providing access to attached garages. It does not necessitate the need for it to analyze traffic patterns that would typically be reviewed with commercial sites or large-scale residential communities. That is, I agree with that as well.
Me too. Seems logical. Colleagues?
I'm all set.
So I move that we accept the waiver request for section 4E, vehicular traffic circulation and parking.
Seconded.
Any further discussion? Hearing none. Ken?
Yes.
Kathleen? Julie?
Yes.
Chair votes aye. The next waiver request is for outdoor lighting.
Section 4G. Requests as stated above, in the absence of large-scale outdoor parking areas, the proposed construction does not include installation of outdoor area lighting. Outdoor lighting will be typically of a single or two-family homes consisting of downward-facing overhead lighting above the garage doors and outdoor wall-mounted lighting at the entryway of the home. We have provided a typical specification for these fixtures.
And I believe that those fixtures are indeed the ones that the DPW approves that are downward facing, et cetera, so that's already been done. Okay. Again, I think a reasonable request. I'll make a motion that we accept the waiver request for 4G outdoor lighting.
Seconded.
Any further excuse me, folks. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Ken?
Yes.
Kathleen?
Yes.
Julie?
Yes.
Chair votes aye. Thank you. Now,
Just let's get to the
special conditions?
Yeah, let's get to the special conditions
Because 1 through 36 are just standard boilerplate that we're familiar to all. Okay, but let's
Yep.
talk about these special conditions.
So, special condition number 1, the applicant shall submit an approval not required plan for 15 3rd Street for the endorsement, for endorsement prior to having the pre-construction meeting. The endorsement plan shall be recorded at the Middlesex Registry of Deed, and a copy shall be submitted to the town planner prior to the pre-construction meeting. That's just so that we make sure that the A&R has been done and completed and recorded.
Okay?
The second one, these come from the DPW.
The next 5?
The next 5, yeah. The DPW will take ownership of the proposed roadway infrastructure if the applicant constructs the proposed road and utilities per plan approved by the planning board. The DPW will take.
Go ahead. I was gonna amend that, but go finish and I'll go
Nope,
back.
go ahead.
I just thought we should add, that the road and utilities per plan is approved by the planning board and the DPW.
The DPW.
So they
They
were
don't
already.
do approvals, though.
They don't do the.
I think it wouldn't be appropriate.
We-
We're the
Per
official
plans approved.
agency for approval.
Okay, so then instead of that, in accordance with specifications from the DPW.
So, after planning board and in accordance with specifications from the DPW?
Yeah.
Okay.
So in other words, if we miss something on our plan, but a specification that they have says you need to use a certain type of pipe, a certain quality.
Yep.
They will do that.
Which I think was already captured in your
Right.
details, but that's okay to cover. The DPW will take ownership of the proposed roadway infrastructure if the applicant prepares and submits all required documents for the street acceptance. The DPW will take ownership of the proposed roadway infrastructure if the town votes to approve Pine Street Extension as a public way at a town meeting. The DPW will take ownership of the drainage infrastructure if the town votes to approve Pine Street Extension as a public way at a town meeting. The DPW will take ownership of the drainage infrastructure if the applicant creates an easement for the stormwater infrastructure on Lot 4.
He's already got it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We show an easement. and
Right, you
it
showed,
will also
we
be
just talked about,
all
didn't we?
these easements will be incorporated into the A&R plan.
Yeah.
I saw the easement for the sewer, but
Oh, okay.
I'm not sure if I saw it for the stormwater, but I guess it's there.
That'll be shown on the, they'll show it on the NR, they'll have to
Yeah.
provide an easement plan to the
Okay,
to
thanks.
the DPW anyways. Oh. Okay, we'll catch that. Sorry about that. I don't know.
Now, we
how
don't
that
have to
happened.
vote on the special conditions as a separate vote from the overall approval, right?
No.
But that's incorporated, we've read it just for the benefit of the public to have a full understanding of what it is we're actually voting on or approving.
Correct.
Thank you.
So, at this point, I think the board can make a vote on this portion as well. On the whole decision, actually.
I make a motion to approve the site plan as submitted by the applicant for, lots 1 through, where is it? Oh, it's right. Oh, I'm sorry, it's written for me. Just where it begins with the quotation mark, right?
Yep.
We, the Air Planning Board, as requested by the applicant Dan Aho, 3rd Street nominee trust, under the provisions of subsection 320-3.5 and subsection 320-96 of the air zoning bylaws, to consider site plan approval for the property addressed at 15 3rd Street, Assessors Map 34, Parcel 129, as shown on plans. Entitled Site Plan, 15 3rd Street, Ayer, Massachusetts, dated February 2020. I don't have to read all that? Okay, thank you.
And then your next, so
I need a
first
second.
thing is going to be your now reading on the next page.
Okay.
Right there.
Oh, okay. Continuing the motion, I make a motion for approval of the site plan pursuant to subsection 320-3.5, site plan review of air zoning bylaw, subject to the standard conditions 1 through 36, and special conditions numbered 1 through 6 in this decision, and the following conditions, I don't believe we imposed any, did we? Presented at the meeting. So there are none, so we just end section special conditions number 1 through 6 in this decision.
Seconded.
Any further discussion? Hearing none. Ken?
Aye.
Kathleen?
Yes.
Julie?
Yes.
Chair votes aye. The site plan is approved.
Right now, the stormwater. So with the stormwater, everything basically is the same as our other stormwater permits. In this one, I did add that other finding that I put in there about the Pine Street extension. I added that in there as well. The waiver requests are also in this one as well, but I'll just copy over the information from the site plan.
Do we have to vote these
Nope,
waiver requests?
'cause you've
Oh, they
already
don't,
voted.
because these were, okay,
These
that's what I was
same
wondering. I
ones.
didn't realize the stormwater permit, okay, good,
They're
good.
the same ones.
The same one, so they don't have to be voted again, good.
Yep. And then there was one that was brought up to discuss. I'm trying to figure out which one it was.
A special condition, or?
It was a regular
That is
condition.
highlighted 23 here under hours, maybe, is it the hours? Construction vehicles and stuff like that.
Oh, no, it wasn't on this one. It was actually on the other one, but it was on site plan, something that came up that I should bring up to your attention. It's nothing.
Okay.
So under 14 on their site plan, I added if applicable on this one.
Oh,
On the last one, there's a section that it talks about on number 14. I added if applicable.
okay,
Just because on this one, this section would not be applicable, that condition.
okay,
But since there are standards, I don't want to
okay,
remove and add. I'll just add if applicable.
that's fair.
So on the stormwater one, all the general conditions are normal ones that we have.
35 of those, right?
Yep. So there's only two. So there's 8 special conditions under the stormwater one. 2 of them are ones that were not on the site plan. So number 7, in the case where the town of Ayer takes ownership of a project from the owner, a maintenance fee will be required. An annual fee will be based on the estimated value of the annual routine O&M for the stormwater system. Additional fees may apply should additional maintenance be required. So on this one, so this is a condition that's set forth in our stormwater management regulations. The only question that we still kind of don't, we're trying to, is up in the air is how long does that last? Because I think the way it would work is, based on how the condition is it's something that would continue going. But if the town takes it over and it's a public way, I think, in my experience, the way this would work is if we were to take over a stormwater basin on a project that was private, which we've done in previous, in DPW's history. There's some projects that they've taken over doing the stormwater because it wasn't being done. So I don't think that this condition would actually be necessary in this occasion, because the whole project's going to end up being public anyways. The easement is going to be so it's going to be taken care of by the DPW. This is typically for so there was a project up on Easy Street that the road was not accepted because it was under an HOA, but they had talked with the DPW to have the DPW maintain it. They paid an annual fee to the DPW to maintain it. That's where I think that condition comes in.
The stormwater features that we saw on the plan,
Mm-hmm.
that doesn't just serve lot 4, does it? It serves all of the lots?
Correct.
So how would you,
The street. And the lot.
how would you assign the fees then?
That's, yes.
Do you understand what I'm getting
Ends
at?
up being a really small amount.
It does, but even then, there's no HOA because
I
it's
know.
just it's just several houses. So there's no, unless the DPW were to send you a bill. This is typically for the occasion in which, I talked about with Easy Street, where it's private, but they want the DPW to maintain it because they don't want to maintain it.
But didn't you, I thought, I'm very confused. I thought that you said that eventually, not only will the town take over the street, but I thought
Yeah, and so the town will take over the street and the stormwater.
Right, so if they're gonna take over both, why do we need number 7?
That's why I'm raising it, because I don't think we need it.
No?
Well, it depends, like everything else. In the past, didn't we negotiate this with you at one time as well, Dan, and on the other project, where there was you put up, there's like an upfront fee that would take care of like 10 years, or something like that. It was an estimated number from DPW. It's only like $300 or $400 a year or something like that.
No, I don't think we actually did, but what we did is they came through and inspected it, and we had to get everything up to there. Clean all the catch basins, do everything before the actual town took it
Yeah.
over, but once the town took it over, it's
That was it.
theirs. So we did maintain it for about 2 years waiting for, getting it all done and whatever, so we maintained it and then we updated everything.
Which is typical what we request for any project that's going to
Yeah,
eventually be accepted.
Exactly, right, that's standard, right?
We did it, we're actually currently doing it with a project that was, I don't know if you guys know, but I'm sure you guys know, Kohler Place, the one right off of the end of,
Yeah,
near Stratton Hill.
yeah.
So we're in the process right now of doing a punch list. They got to do all these, kind of clean up this, clean up that, do all this before we end up accepting it. So it's kind of like that. It's like a punch list.
So that
for the-
cul-de-sac, which hasn't got the top on it yet.
Yeah, exactly. There's a list of things that they need to do, and that's
Your
what we
neighbors.
would do.
Yeah, the end of your
End
street.
of your street,
Right road.
cul-de-sac,
That has a name?
Kohler
yeah.
Place.
Really?
That was before our time.
About
Right
place.
road.
Don't go.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one.
What if you,
You're not welcome.
what if you did the, if applicable,
Applicable.
comma in front of this?
Okay.
Is that it?
What's
If
that?
applicable,
If we added the words if applicable,
comma, and then,
If applicable, yeah.
and then in the.
Kind of like what we did
blah,
on the other one.
then you negotiate along the way,
Exactly, because,
so forth.
all right, I think that's if that, yeah, I like that.
Okay.
And then number 8's the standard, right?
Yeah, that's another one that we require on
Yeah,
this.
that's total logic,
Yep.
right? And the other 6 are the same ones, same
On the-
special conditions that we just, okay.
Yep.
Oh, wait a
So-
minute. So do you want to add that little language about the DPW specifications on here that I mentioned?
I did. Yep. I'm
Yeah.
doing it as you guys are talking.
Okay, so you did it on the stormwater as well, is what I'm getting at.
Oh, on the stormwater one, you're right.
That's what he's talking
Yep, that is correct. Let me see what wording I used, just so I can copy that.
Excuse me.
In accordance with the specification from the DPW.
Okay, great. We good?
So your motion is at the top of number 1, on page number 2.
So I don't have to reread that?
No, you don't have to read
Okay, I don't
that.
have to read that, so I can just read the motion? Okay. I'd like to make a motion for approval of the site plan pursuant to subsection 245-5 and 6 Stormwater Management of Air General Bylaws, subject to the standard conditions 1 through 35 and special conditions numbered 1 through 8 in this decision. Period, because we didn't apply any further. Okay, good. Do I have a second?
Seconded.
Any further discussion? Hearing?
Nice
Sorry?
job, Danny, and the applicant. Thank you.
Oh, Ken?
Yes,
Kathleen? Julie?
Yes.
Chair votes aye. I just wish to congratulate the applicant and wish you good luck with the project.
Close the public hearing.
I'd like to make a motion to close the public hearing for 15 3rd Street, Pine Street.
Seconded.
Any discussion? Hearing none. Ken?
yes.
Kathleen?
Yes.
Julie?
Yes.
Chair votes aye. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Keep cool.
Yeah.
Once I get it signed, I'll send you an email. That way, we'll put it in, we'll get it submitted, and then I'll give you the date with the appeal period, the 20-day appeal period, and we can go from there.
Good.
Thank you very much.
So, thank you. So for 0 High Street and 38 Groton Harvard Road, Lincoln Hills, I believe the public hearing is open.
Yes, it is.
And is there anything to discuss other than the wish for continuance for both the special permit and the site plan review special permit inclusionary housing and stormwater permit?
So just as an update, so that the board knows, we had a meeting with the DPW and with the applicant to discuss the stormwater for the project. There were some questions. We went through the peer review questions. The applicant will be responding to the stormwater, as well as updating the stormwater with the current plans, updating the current plans so they're fully revised. And then they will also have to update, the additional stuff like the project narrative, stuff like that. That'll all be updated as well to reflect the newest revision. The intent was the applicant would be submitting revised plans, hopefully within the next week or so, so that we can get those out to all the department heads as well as the peer reviewer for a review on the stormwater and on the traffic. The applicant did state that they did get a letter from their traffic engineer, so that will get submitted to the peer reviewer to update, because the number of vehicle trips has gone down with the units going down. And they're currently in discussions with the VOA on the parcel A that's behind it with the parking lot plan. So they are currently in negotiating right now. So their request was to continue to the July 8th meeting.
Before we make the movement for the continuance, I see there are people here. We can't do that?
Nope.
Oh, we're not.
It's
Can you explain why?
Yeah, so when the applicant is requesting a continuance, no discussion can occur.
So we can't discuss and the public can't discuss. It's
Correct.
no discussion.
Correct.
Okay, I just want to make it clear about why.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
I want to ask a question, no discussion. I'd like to, I think I mentioned you this offline, Jonathan, but I'd like Danny to set up a meeting for the planning board to discuss the peer review comments about the stormwater separately from the meeting that we meet with the applicants. So that the planning board has a preview of what those comments mean, step by step. Because I found them to be pretty deep. So
Yes.
I just thought it would be to our benefit to have a separate discussion led by you.
Okay. If Ken finds it deep, the rest of us will drown.
Yep, that's
So
the thing too.
But he's right. His point is correct.
I can only have 2 members at a max, because then we have a quorum.
Well, we could,
We can't, so,
suggesting we set up another meeting somewhere
yeah,
along the way.
so I can have 2 members at that meeting. We can talk offline as to who those 2 members would be. But yes, we can, Jonathan did raise this to me,
Oh, okay.
so,
Yeah.
that will be occurring.
Okay, thanks. You guys okay with that? I mean, did you look at the comments from the peer reviewer?
No, but I will.
It's like a spreadsheet type setup.
It's,
Oh my God.
yes,
I was looking, as I mentioned on the phone to you, I was looking for a narrative
yes.
preceding that.
I think we're getting,
Yeah,
Okay, okay, got it.
Will that conversation be available to the public?
It's there now, yeah.
the what?
The discussion with the store, like what you just discussed, will that be recorded and available for the public?
No, it's just gonna be me, Jonathan, and Ken, and the DPW.
Okay, so if there's additional, like, because it seems like it's a confusing document for somebody who's read documents like that before. So I'm just trying to think ahead to the meeting and what questions might be provoked during that meeting.
Yeah, so the peer reviewer will attend the meeting,
Okay,
so that they can answer the questions. It's just so that I can get the 2 members on board, so that they can understand as well, internally, and then when the peer reviewer comes at this meeting, they'll be able to answer everybody's questions.
okay, thank you.
Is the peer reviewer slated to come on July 8th?
We don't know yet, because it depends on when the applicant submits their revised information. We may not get to the stormwater on the 8th,
Okay,
because the peer reviewer may not have fully reviewed all of the comments by then.
okay,
So it's kind of up in the air as to what's going to be happening on the 8th.
okay, and I'm assuming since you're meeting with Ken and Jonathan, if I have
I
questions.
will. Yep.
Julie
You're
can
welcome to
just
reach.
reach
Yep.
out.
I will fill you. I will fill each of you in.
Okay,
I think one of the reasons we're requesting this is that we anticipate, as you can see from the Excel spreadsheet, that the comments are deep and there's a lot of them. And we thought that before we just go to the public, in a public meeting and have that major discussion one by one, I want to know what the heck it is.
It's educational.
It's
We're all just
education.
trying
So
to
there's
do
not
our
going to be
due-
any deliberation at the meeting. It's purely educational, like, what is this? What's going on? And then what we learn, we share. I mean, at the public meeting, publicly, we share. So, yes, it's not a deliberative event.
Sorry, just one more question. So is the Excel spreadsheet that we currently have?
Yeah, the one that's on the
are we
website.
waiting for updates to that?
So
Is
this
on the new
one,
plan?
yes.
And then do you have, I'm just getting at his timeline. We don't know when we would get the new sheet from them. Okay.
It all
So
depends
basically
on
they'll
timing.
email us
Yeah,
when-
yeah. I will inform the board when I get everything, and it'll be posted up on the website as soon as I get it.
Okay.
But it all depends on when the applicant gets it into me, because
Okay.
then I can get it out to the peer reviewer, and then the peer reviewer can do their review.
And presumably if they get it to you on the 8th, we will not discuss it on the 8th.
Oh, I mean, if who gets it to me?
The applicant.
Oh no, the applicant. We wouldn't even have a meeting.
I can't.
I need. We have a
We need
requirement
it
of
by Friday, right?
5 days,
Oh.
5 business days before the
Okay.
meeting. So it's the Tuesday before.
Tuesday before.
Right.
Which is why other meetings were continued today.
Jonathan, can I add off of what you were just saying too, with it being educational, and that's what I think other people have all. I don't know who I'm speaking to.
Everyone.
I just think it's an important time to also say this is not the only time we do these things. You've heard me say at other meetings that I meet with Danny probably once a month just to get my bearings on what I'm learning. Like it's the way we all show up best here. It's not some behind the scenes thing. It's how I continue my learning because I don't have a background in planning or engineering or any of that. So it's not unique to this situation. It's just things that we tend to do. I don't always say it at this meeting, but I actually asked Danny if I could come in today. So and you're open to public as well and
Yes.
offering that educational service as we go. So I appreciate it.
So Danny, do we need two separate motions or one motion for all of those?
No, because they were already opened and combined, so just one motion works.
Okay, I'd like to,
Pauline raised her hand.
Oh, yes, Pauline, yes.
Just a really quick question for Danny. Is there a time frame within which the applicant must provide their updated plan, review, whatever that you all were just discussing?
Yeah, so they have up to, we will only have a meeting on the 8th if they submit their information up to 5 business days prior. So I request that it's the Tuesday before the next meeting so that there's enough time for myself, department heads to review, as well as to hopefully get the peer reviewer to review it. Depending on, it should hopefully be within the next week. So we should be fine and have all that information well before the meeting, but our requirements are the Tuesday before the meeting.
And I appreciate that. Thank you, Danny. But what if they want to delay it longer or not? No, I don't want to say that. How about if they're not ready to provide it? Is there a time frame within which they must provide it?
No, so the applicant, it's up to them if they want to continue. If they don't have enough time to, say, get everything done before the July 8th, they can continue it. It's their discretion. They just need to provide an extension of time, a letter, providing us an extension of time for the planning board to act on the site plan review. And they also, by them continuing the hearing, it gives the board the automatic extension to the next meeting.
Understood. And how long do those automatic extensions continue?
Legally, they're allowed to as long as they want.
Okay, no end date.
No.
Okay, thank you.
all right, I'd like to make a motion to continue the public hearing for 0 High Street and 38 Groton Harvard Road, Lincoln Hills, special permit, site plan review, inclusionary housing and stormwater permit.
Seconded.
Any further discussion? Yes, Ken?
So actually, did we receive an email from them or a letter from them regarding today?
Yep.
Now, what's the date on the,
July 8th is the
No,
extent.
what's the date of the, that we must act? How much has it been?
So legally, they're extending the time to July 8th. I will request a formal extension of 60 days to get us through, hopefully, to September.
Okay.
I need a second, right?
I seconded.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, I already have, apologies, that's right. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Ken?
Yes.
Kathleen? Julie?
Yes.
Chair votes aye. We are now at administrative matters. Could you bring up the, oh, you already discussed the land use?
Yep. We just discussed the land.
So now we can do,
project status updates.
yes.
So there's really not that much to update on the substation. They're still working. There was a poll petition done at the last select board meeting to along the Bishop Road and Park Street. So that was approved through the select board to upgrade those poles that are in that area. That's part of this substation project. But other than that, there's no, big updates on that. 42 Park Street, we're currently still in the same situation. Just kind of, Heather met with them out at the site to go through addressing the current condition of where the landscaping is and making sure that there's no sediment getting off site. So that's addressed. Other than that, they still need to do some pavement cutting and stuff like that, but that's being dealt with through conservation as part of their agreement there. Stratton Hill, they're moving along. As of right now, I'm receiving inspections, SWIP inspections. We should be receiving a quarterly update from the project engineer from Dillis and Roy. I did let Frank know, so he's going to be getting that over to us. I'll make sure that the board gets that, and the board gets an update on that. Then we have 91 Groton Harvard Road. As of right now, all of the Jersey barriers are in. The building is going up. They're not going to be paving for a bit, but as of right now, everything's moving along. They're just focused on the building right now, and then they'll finish up the other stuff.
Okay, thank you.
Nasoya, I will have to give you guys an update at a later date. I don't know currently where they are on that one. I mean, there was some digging going on. I know the building commissioner was out there. They've been doing SWIP inspections. I have not been out there in a couple of weeks, so I don't know exactly where they are right now. The other thing that I put on the agenda was discussion of amending the planning board regulations to have 2 associate members.
Yeah, and how involved is it? So it's regulations, not bylaw.
Correct.
So we can actually vote ourselves.
Correct, yes. So the way it would work is we would need to have a public hearing. So we would post it in the...
You have to schedule, so the order is you have to schedule a public hearing at least 2 weeks in advance, right?
Yep. We'd run a
And
legal
post
notice.
Legal notice.
Yep. And so it would run 2 weeks prior in the newspaper and then 1 week prior in the newspaper. And then what I would say most likely would be the last meeting in July, we would have it.
Can we do that?
Yeah.
Let's schedule it. So what's the date of the second meeting in July? The 8th, 14th, what is it, the 22nd?
The 22nd. So for the 22nd, I could have the paper run it for the 8th, the 15th. We could have the meeting on the 22nd, the public hearing, where we vote to amend the regulations to have 2 associate members as opposed to 1.
Okay. Yeah, the easy part will be the vote. The hard part will be finding 2 associate members.
Yep. But I think we can do it.
Yes.
I mean, we did. Kathleen Jeff brought Kathleen, I think it was. Jeff? Was it Jeff? I don't know. Somebody. Kathleen brought in.
Kathleen stepped up.
Kathleen stepped in. She, she's done a great job. So I'm sure we can find two more.
Too. I just wanted to make that.
Yeah. I'm sure we can find two more.
I think we can, just to keep our eyeballs open.
Yes.
Okay, great. Meeting minutes. We need a separate vote for each of these. All right, I'd like to make a motion to approve the meeting minutes with the edits I submitted earliest this week for February 25th, 2025.
Second.
Any further discussion?
Wait. So
Ken got it.
Ken? Okay.
Any discussion?
I looked at it, I'm fine with it, thank you.
All right. How do you vote? Ken?
Aye.
Kathleen? Was she there? Oh, she wasn't there. She can't do it, right?
I'll confirm.
It's there. I have it in front of me.
Yep, you
Yes.
were. Yeah, you were
She
there.
can vote, right?
Yeah, of course.
Did you vote aye? I couldn't remember.
Yes.
Julie?
Yes.
Chair votes aye. Thank you, everybody. I make a motion to approve the minutes as amended for June 10th, 2025.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none. Ken?
Aye.
Kathleen?
Yes.
Julie?
Yes.
And chair votes aye. And then for this one,
The June 17th.
June
So
17th,
it's just you three.
just us three. Okay. I make a motion to approve the minutes for June 17th, 2025. And just for the public to be aware, that wasn't a formal meeting of the Air Planning Board. What that was a joint meeting with the Select Board that was necessary for us to be present and for both of us to vote to approve Kathleen to be elevated from associate member to full member of the board. I'm sorry, I have the motion out there. Any second on that?
Second.
Okay. Any further discussion?
No.
Hearing none. Ken?
Aye.
Kathleen?
Yes.
Chair votes aye. Thank you, everybody.
Two quick things.
Yes.
Some of the other boards I'm on do say if you're not there, you can vote on the minutes, which I find weird, but I'm just throwing that out there as a question. I don't know why you would, but
You have to abstain.
and then just for since it's summer and we do that, I'm going to be out on August 26th I'm not going to be at that meeting. I will be with Lady Gaga.
Oh, look at you.
Yeah.
Okay. August 26th. Yeah, so if everyone can send me
Send
like
that in an email.
send me an
Gladly.
email of your vacations or whatever meetings you're not going to make during the summer. I did this last year too. It just kind of gives me a heads up as to which meetings applicants should know and what needs to be continued and not.
Okay.
I had a related question about the clerk thing.
We can do that when Nathan comes.
Okay, because we need enough. Can you send me, because my understanding of the clerk position is that you're supposed to, because you don't take notes.
Yeah, we have Heather.
You're supposed to like make motions. Can I have a copy of Robert's rules or something like that sent to
Jeff
me?
gave me the book. Would you like it? Because I'm not reading it. That was from when I thought Robert Pombriand wrote Robert's Rules, and I will admit that with a smile on my face.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I would gladly give it to
She
you.
can give that to you, and what'll happen is, meet you and I. We can meet at a later date and just.
Yeah,
you
just
understand.
so that I have a good sense of the language.
Yep.
That's my impression is that's the goal.
Mm-hmm.
Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Oh wait.
Wait. Oh, yes, please.
Before we adjourn, do I have to approach or can you hear me?
Yeah, if
For
you
the
could.
microphones.
For educational purposes, because I know we can't discuss, for educational purposes, the debate over my property project and the other one, the 38 Groton Harvard Road, and the one we just watched on Grove Pond. Pine Street, okay. That was noted to be a site plan, but the project that my property's involved is a different kind of submission. Can you remind me what the name of that is?
So it's a site plan submission under the OSRD bylaw.
So they're both site plan, I thought there was
That-
a different name for it.
No, that one is a site plan under the land clearing bylaw.
Okay, so comparing the two again, there's a 100-foot buffer zone or something
For wetlands.
for wetlands that was discussed. Okay, so can't discuss, but in the case of like the retention pond in the hill and the immediate property, would there have to be 100 feet? It's not the same thing?
Okay, because I mean, my
Wetlands.
property is like beyond the 100 feet, but there are others ones that are not.
Wetlands are jurisdictional through the state under the WPA Act, so stormwater basins are.
Okay, because
Fall.
I got confused when the abutter before was talking about the 100 feet and how, you know, all of a sudden
Oh,
she's got a
yeah.
patio in her backyard.
Yeah.
That's less than the width of my house that she's got in
Yeah.
her patio, so. All right,
Yeah, no, that's.
It's a different case
It's a
scenario.
different case, yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Motion to adjourn. Yes?
Everybody
So
seconded.
moved.
Thank you.
All right. Good night, everybody. Thank you.